Chapter 8, a star-powered showdown! At the beginning of every chapter, including the last one, we start out as Princess Peach, so this time we don't do a whole lot. In fact, this section of the game is pretty much his entire cutscene, where Bowser brags that he's got a final operation to stop Mario, and that Peach is going to be witness to him defeating Mario. So of course, what happens is they get the goons to tie ropes around her, and yeah, that's about it for this scene. He does hit Twink out of the sky, like, geez Louise, Bowser, what an ass. After that, we continue back with Mario, who's, of course, at the temple he was last time, so we gotta get our way out of there and back to Toad Town. Once back in Toad Town, we can do some side quests that if you haven't finished, you can do. There's not a whole lot of side quests in this game other than this dojo, which has the final thing, which is the Master Dojo guy. This fight here is supposed to be one of the hardest, like, side boss fights you see in a game, you know, where you have these really hard boss fight to test all your maneuvers, and this is basically that. He has 99 HP here. This guy's pretty tough. Well, it's a really big gauntlet, basically. Anyway, there actually isn't any side missions at this point, just star pieces and mail delivery stuff that you probably might have been doing throughout the entire game, but it really just gives you extra items like the star pieces, which allows you to buy extra stuff. Now that's really not much required, but if you want to keep grinding, make sure you do that. Anyway, you want to make up to north of Peach's Castle is into the Star Valley area. And we make our way up the mountaintop near the center, which we've been to before, but this time we have all the star spirits, so we can actually do something here. With the 7 star spirits now there, they will actually allow you to rise into the sky as they anxiously await you. This portal takes us to Star Haven, which is the area in the sky where all the star spirits like to reside. And it may look friendly, but there is enemies along the way. Not too many, but one of them is Ember, which is like a fire guy, but now it's like 10 HP with, you know, frost effects, fire effects. They really aren't that different from the flame enemies I think we fought before, but yeah, they're beat. For the most part, I actually don't think these enemies are worth fighting due to the fact that their status effects can be a little annoying. They don't really give you that much HP, XP I should say, or star points. And nor is that many in this area, but hey, it's up to you whether you want to fight them or not. But once we go up, we'll find a little star castle full of all these little stars here and there and everywhere. And also, you might find your last shop and item shop before the final dungeon, so make sure you take a rest here and pick up any items and sell any items you might need. The item shop's pretty good. I didn't really go over most of these items, but they're pretty basic. I'm pretty sure I talked about them the first time. But yeah, mushrooms heal, syrup fuels your FP, and there's some other items that do other little things, but they're really not as important as your character attacks and your specials, moves you can do with your characters for that, bonuses, buffs like that, and badges, but you know, whatever. And we make your way to the right, we finally go to a star palace where all the 7 star spirits are awaiting our journey. In here, the star spirits will give you one last star power, known as Star Drain, which should drain Bowser's Star Rod powers. And they also make us a nice little starboat. Yeah, a starboat. And with this, we can go off way into the sky, even though we're already really up in the atmosphere at this point. But it will send us straight hurtling towards Bowser's castle, which is actually Peach's castle, and all the toads and enemies on the ground, not enemies, allies on the ground, are thinking it's a shooting star, and they start making wishes. But that doesn't matter, because now we're heading into the final area of the game, into Bowser's castle's mouth. And hey, his whole docking ship there for his Koopa Clown cars. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this is the final dungeon, and it's actually one of my favorites, because it has a very unique aesthetic, because it's in the sky, and there's a lot of cool little scenery, plus mix match of Peach's castle a little bit too. So yeah, I really like this area. And we also come across some of the enemies we've seen Peach's deal with, like the Koopa Troll, which are the high-ranking Koopa officers stuff. They aren't really too dangerous, but they do have a high defense, but other than that, they're nothing too special to really handle. They can be pretty difficult, especially since they like to do some special attacks, but since they have low HP, they aren't terribly hard. One of the things I like about this dungeon is that you get to see all these little toads that have been captured, and you get to free them along the way. That's kind of fun. And oh yeah, there's another enemy you'll find across, the Hammer Bros. Hammer Bros are kind of weird in this game, don't they? Hammer Bros kind of work as they always do. They throw hammers because, you know, instead of using a hammer, they have to throw a hammer. Hammer Bros don't make a lot of sense when you really think about them. Anyway, let's go to one of the main gimmicks of this final dungeon. You will find these Bowser doors that talk to you and make fun of you, and they'll put you up to a certain challenge that you have to complete that may or may not be a trick. This one, if you talk to it immediately, it'll actually stand right in front of it, and of course, it will do this to you. It'll drop you down. I mean, why would you trust Bowser Head? And below, we'll find a Toad dungeon where all the Toads are being kept trapped. Well, not all of them, just some of them. There's a bunch of different little Toad jails in this castle, right? Much like every jail in this game, the way to break out is by using bomb powers, but what else is new? And on the escape route, we'll find a whole area full of lava that Mario has to traverse with his partners, and of course you might need to use Parakarry here and there. Though you don't have to use Parakarry is because we can use Lackluster and he can go over these lava parts, which is very useful. So yeah, one of the reasons I like this dungeon is that it makes you use all of your partners in unique ways. Like you might have to use Bow in order to get past a little lava curtain, Parakarry to go across the lava, and Lackluster to go through the lava, and all that sorts of stuff. It is very well designed. It's just very fun to play through. And especially coming across enemies are like shocked to see Mario here, and just everything about it. It feels very climactic, but it's also fun just to see the interactions here and there. And oh yeah, we finally get to come across a regular Magic Koopa, or I guess a blue Magic Koopa, and they are the elite ones. Apparently the other ones just aren't elite, so every time we see a blue one, that's just the normal elite one, apparently, according to Paper Mario. Honestly though, this guy really isn't that strong. He does have better magical abilities, but because the Magic Koopas don't really have much going for them, this boss fight, well, not even a boss fight, this little mini area here isn't very hard. But these guys were hiding a P-switch here, which I'm guessing is a P-switch. I'm just assuming everything's a P-switch, which drains the lava, which is very useful, so now we can traverse some of this previous area, because all the lava has been gotten rid of, because I guess it makes sense, we're in the sky, so it doesn't make any sense for lava to be up here, so Bowser artificially made lava, and once we stop it, it kind of cools down. That's actually kind of neat. I like that. After that, we go to a cavernous part of the castle, where there are these weird bone-like Koopa, they're dry bones, but shells only. And one of the main gimmicks with this whole entire area is that it's dark, so you gotta use Watt in order to navigate through this area. Though other than high defense, these guys have very low HP, meaning that they aren't very hard to take out, so yeah. And especially Watt does pretty good damage to these guys, which is the main part you're gonna use, because you actually can't use other partners if you don't have it lit up with Watt, so that's kinda crazy. Well, this area isn't too hard, and mostly just trying to figure out which way do I go. It's kind of like a little maze, but not really. Mostly using partners, try to swap like with Parakarry sometimes to go for certain gaps. Whatever, well, it's not too long, and once you get past it, we can probably get back to the light, where we come across that old Bowser statue from before. So, oddly enough, this guy will let us go through, but he says we'll regret this or something like that, but whatever. Anyway, we go to the right from there, we can find a Toad jail, which we can see all the prisoners from. And one of these Toads will let us take a nap and heal up like a regular Toad does, except it's in the prison, so now Mario's gonna sleep in prison. Which he had to sleep in prison during Sunshine, so I guess he's used to it by now. You know this game out before Sunshine, but whatever. Anyway, we basically made it to the main hub of Bowser's Castle, part of the area, the dungeon. There's a big opening way where we can take a right and left path on the top. If you go to the left, we find a shop, actually. This is the last shop in the game. It is actually held by a Goomba Spike Top here, who will just let us buy stuff anyway. He just doesn't care. So yeah, keep in mind this area is important to remember because it has our only healing area as well as our only item place. Last one in the game, and we can't go back after we're done in this area. So yeah, those are the only places we can use to shop and sleep. And following the right path, there's a lot more enemies. A lot of Magic Koopas and those guards running around, trying to stop Mario. So you might be on a gauntlet with a bunch of these guys. Mostly Magic Koopas. There's a lot of Magic Koopas up here. And of course, to the right side, we have to use our another partner, Sushi, because we're putting in water here. So instead of lava, we're getting water. And using our swim ability, we can swim around the top of this dungeon. All nice. As the main point of this dungeon is to keep making the water rise so we can get higher and higher up this dungeon. Like I said, we're in Bowser's Castle at the bottom, but we need to get up to Peach's Castle at the top. Though one of the gimmicks is that you also have to drain the water in order to go back to certain areas, so it's kind of like a little one of those little things. And once we get past that area, we have a whole bunch of bullet bills. But as any bullet bills, they look like they've been pissed on. These are bullet bills come from the B Bill Blaster. I don't know what B stands for. Bombshell bills? Whatever. They are pretty much the same as they were before, but now they have higher attack, and that's about it. But keep in mind, going up these stairs, there's a whole lot of them to dodge. It's just a whole gauntlet of bullet bill blasters and bullet bills all over the place. But once you finally climb up all those stairs, all those bullet bill blasters are finally done in that area. And we find another push puzzle, but this time there's a bunch of looks like dry bones all over the place. Yeah, this is dry bones. He just looks very weird in this game. Dry bones, they suck in this game. They throw bones, and that's about it. They are incredibly easy to defeat, so having them beat this late in the game is kind of funny, actually. Anyway, this room leads us to a puzzle where we have to figure out which maze way to go during this push puzzle area. It's a little difficult, since you gotta remember which way you're going here, even though it's really not that difficult, it's just a little tedious, and each room looks kind of similar, and there's always enemies in your way to fight. What makes this annoying is that you actually have to figure out you gotta push one of these blocks over the door, which isn't as obvious as it might seem, in order to find an actual key to progress to the next area. But when we finally do that, we get to another Bowser head door room. This one will play us a little memorization game, which is super easy. You gotta remember what things are going in the door and what they are, and all sorts of stuff like that. It may seem tricky, but I didn't fail a single time during this minigame. Maybe because I have good memorization skills, who knows. The more annoying part about this is the fact that it goes on for quite a while. You have to do this like 5 times in order to go past. But when we finally do, we find we're on the outside of the castle here, which is pretty cool. But that is if we don't fail, because if we do fail, we have to fight Shy Guys. This is actually not a Shy Guy, it's an Anti-Guy, or a Deadly Guy. These little Shy Guys have 50 HP, so you better not fail the memorization game. Not that you would, it's pretty easy. Well, these guys' attacks really aren't that strong. It's a very long fight, seeing the fact that these are 3 enemies of 50 HP. 150 HP you gotta take off in total. That is kind of insane, so don't mess with that memorization game. But anyway, now that we're past that door, there's a bunch of enemies that we already fought before, like Magic Koopas and all the other guard types we've fought before, guarding the way. Then, when we get past there, we finally make it to another open area where you have multiple pathways to choose from. Going to the left, we get another prisoner key room which you can open up, and another toad that will let us sleep and rest. And on the top left area, there's a kind of a little puzzle room that just allows us to guess a ultra mushroom, which isn't the most useful thing in the world, but if you want it, there it is. Anyway, on the top right area, we have more puzzle rooms, which we have to figure out how to do them. Most of them using other characters like Bombette and just the right timing, so we can cross these puzzle blocks here. And then there's a long hallway with a staircase that is sort of similar to the old Mario Bros. Bowser castles, which are maze-likes because they repeat unless you don't know the right pattern. And honestly, I forgot the right pattern because you pretty much have to do this back and forth until you finally figure it out. It is kind of annoying, actually. I do not like it in Super Mario Bros., and I do not like it here. And when we get past there, we have another sky hallway full of, guess what? A crap ton more enemies. Anyway, when we finally get past there, it looks like our journey is over since Princess Peach is right there to greet us, which is kind of strange. I thought she would be like on top of the castle, tied in ropes, but whatever. She tells us not to go for the door and that we should go back, but she's been suspicious about this, so I don't really know about that. And if we keep pestering her, she seems to act really weird. So, how about we, blow her up? That's the most logical thing to do. And yeah, what you guessed, it's a ghost. And we have to fight 4 of these guys, however, that's really not difficult since we already fought them last time, and they haven't changed them a whole lot. But anyway, when we make past the fake Peach, we find yet another Bowser door. And this guy's like, we've got old friends for you to fight. That's right, the Koopa Bros are back, and I'm super happy, because I like these guys a lot. He said, you remember who we are? You either say yes or no, so you know they get upset. Of course they do. But instead of having a rematch with my favorite boss fights and characters in the game, unfortunately, we do not get that luxury. Because the Junior Troopa guy, who isn't that funny or fun of a fight, comes back. Like, I don't like this character that much. He's okay, but man, I wanted to fight the Koopa Bros again. I like those characters, but oh well. Junior Koopa, who doesn't even make sense why he's so strong, is a fucking baby. And this is his last form. He has 60 HP and he can use all his moves from previous fights, I should say. This is technically his hardest boss fight, but none of his boss fights previously were that hard anyway, so who cares. And with one final jump on his head, he is finally gone. Then he runs away like a little bitch. The Bowser Door doesn't know it wants us to pass because he wanted us to beat the Koopa Bros, but we did beat the guy who beat the Koopa Bros, so he doesn't really know. You can't put his finger on it even though he's a head on a door. He has no fingers. But anyway, we were allowed to go through, and yeah, that's about it for that. But not only that, we go open the door, and uh-oh, we're right near the end. There's Peach's castle. I'm nervous. And when we go in here, it seems to be quiet. Too quiet. Where is everybody? The only thing we can really do here is we can free that toad that was stuck here, and that's pretty nice. And this toad will allow us to heal in this bed here. Isn't that sus? Isn't that lovely? And one of the other things you can do here is in the library. You probably have seen this item that you're probably interested in how to get there. Well, you can only get there as Mario at the very end of the game. By jumping on these books, we can go all the way to the left here. The top left of this bookshelf, we can finally get this one mushroom. It's just a life shroom. I mean, it's good, but, you know, it wasn't really worth just leaving that to us for the very end of the game. But anyway, we make it up to Peach's castle, up to the top floor, where we see a familiar sight. Bowser and Peach are there. Bowser's waiting for Mario there, where they have their fight the first part in the game. Finally, for so many chapters, we've been waiting to fight Bowser yet again, and here he is, back at it again. Bowser has 50 HP in this first form here, and also this first form here is pretty much like the beginning of the game, so it's not very hard. This is just a little teaser for the main final boss. Bowser will use the Star Rod to power himself up, and what you want to do is use the Star Beam, which has no star power points taken away from it, so you can pretty much use it anytime you want. But this move really only works when Bowser's in Star Mode. Other than that, it does nothing. This allows us to fight Bowser normally, which is pretty basic. He is pretty weak to jumps, obviously, and everything else. And Bowser really doesn't have a lot of big, strong moves in this part of the fight. He will try to use Star Rod a little bit, and he will heal himself a little bit. He just uses Claw, attacks, and Fire Breath, which isn't that strong, at least in this form. Plus, you can make him a little mini, which is pretty funny, actually. Once we beat him there, he says that was just the first part. That was just a warm-up. Because he then takes Peach and then leaves this room. We have to follow him up the castle. Anyway, this area here is our last part before you actually go to the final boss here. To make sure your badges are in the right order and the right stuff you want. Here we are. Bowser set up a final trap for Mario. He has everyone watching Mario's demise. Well, Peach is watching it. This whole device thing was designed by Kamikuba to power up Bowser even more than he already is the Star Rod. Make him giant because Bowser always has become giant in every Mario game and the final boss. It's just something he likes to do, alright? This is it. This is the final boss against Bowser. This is just any Bowser fight. It's Evil King Bowser! Because, you know, that's a lot. He has to be Evil King, alright? He also has 99 health points, which is the highest in the game. And when we go to attack him, we find that he takes a little bit of damage. And this time when he uses the Star Rod's power, it makes him even more stronger than he was before, which is pretty insane since he already was extremely powerful. Try to hit him, he does 0 damage. But that's why we have the Star Beam power up, don't we? However, this time when we use it, Bowser just shrugs it off and says, haha, you can't even attack me anymore, I'm invincible. And that's when we actually go back to Peach, believe it or not, outside the battle, which is pretty interesting. So Peach is trying to figure out how to help Mario, and the Twink comes back and hits Kamikuba on the head, which is pretty funny. Yeah, he's alright, apparently. He frees Princess Peach from the ropes that she's bound in. Little bondage action, don't worry about it. And here we have, well, a little mini-boss inside the main boss fight. There's only one thing we could do as Twink here. We can use the move Dash to hit Kamikuba in the head, and that's pretty much it. But unfortunately, it doesn't do any damage. But you're forgetting, we're also playing as Peach. We can use the move Focus and to believe in Twink by using magic of power of wishing, which makes him stronger. The more we do it, the stronger he gets. And enough time passes, and he'll keep doing more and more damage to Cammy. Enough that she'll be out of commission pretty early on. Twink tells Peach that because she believed in him and gave her wishing power by wishing crap, that if she does that with the Star Spirits, with his help, they can stop Bowser's Star's power rod, all that crap. Alright, it's kind of complicated, but it's really not. So Peach pretends the airplane's the nice guy like shooting stars, and joins the other Star Spirits to help Mario drain Bowser's power. So now every time we're in battle with Bowser here, Twink joins the little Star Spirit thing, which is able to drain Bowser's power here, allowing us to actually defeat this guy. Even though Bowser's invincibility is gone, he's still a really hard boss fight. Keep in mind, he has 99 HP and his attacks are no laughing matter. It's not impossible though, it's hard in a fair way. In this point in the game, you have enough items, teamwork out on your VP and all the other stuff you have there, that this boss fight shouldn't be too hard, but it is definitely very epic. If only the music was as good as the one in Sticker Star. Does anyone get what I'm referencing there? Maybe not. But yeah, this is definitely one of the most epic Bowser boss fights in Mario history, and that's for good reason. It's very climactic. And with one final hit, Bowser, or Evil King Bowser, is finally down for the count, and he explodes into electricity, or not really, just shrinks himself down because he lost his power. Bowser complains, he's like, I became invincible and Mario still beat me. I'm a whiny. And yes, we finally got the magical Star Rod that was stolen from Kirby, but don't think about it too much. But yeah, the thing that they were on, the giant Koopa Clown car thing in the middle of space, is now exploding, which is not a good sign. And also Peach's castle, that was not Bowser's castle, is also exploding. I don't know how it's exploding, it just is, alright? The games explode at the end of Nintendo games, alright? You should know this. So yeah, Bowser's castle exploded, but Peach's castle, you know, it's fine. And oh yeah, the Star Spirits were able to have a protective shield around everyone else except for Bowser, because they don't like Bowser for obvious reasons. Anyway, now we're back at Peach's castle. All the Star Spirits thank Mario for bringing back the night sky and all the wishes so everyone can grant wishes once again. And Peach says goodbye to Twink, who is now graduated into a full-blown Star Spirit thanks to his help in the final battle. Isn't that sweet? And then we hard jump cut to Mario telling the story to Luigi in his house. Isn't that swell? Then Luigi's like, I wonder what happened to the pals you traveled with. As well as Bombette, who I guess lives in Koopa Village now. Oh well. And Bo gets a letter too. Oh yeah, Watt's back in the toy box with Shy Guys, even though I think it was captured there. Oh well, who cares? Sushi's obviously back in the Yoshi's Island area, and Lackluster's back with his girlfriend. The only character that has something really interesting going on is that Cooper here is going on an adventure with Colorado to the Crystal Palace again, but then they get interrupted by Parakarry, who tells him that there's a party going on, they're all invited, except for Colorado there, who's got a letter from his wife saying he better come back or his ass is getting kicked to the curb, which is actually pretty hilarious. So yeah, anyway, we start the game as we end the game. Sorry, we end the game the way we started. Though before we actually go to the party, we actually go back to Mario's house and read one more final page of Luigi's diary, because of course Mario would read his brother's diary before going to a party. He's an asshole. Anyway, this version of Toad Town's a little different, as there's a bunch of people from all around the game they could talk about how they journeyed far and wide, and how they thank Mario for making everything go back in its place, basically. It's like Super Smash Brothers. Everyone is here. It's pretty cool to talk to every little character we met along the way, from the Yoshis to the Penguins to the Boos. It's all fun. Anyway, we make it back to the main Princess Peach's castle. Princess Peach, of course, comes out and tells everyone that they are going to celebrate a parade in everyone's honor for helping Mario in his adventure. And we can see all of our party members there celebrating as well. And of course, Luigi is the head of the parade. Now, this looks familiar is because, well, they did the exact same thing in Mario RPG, ending parade with all the characters, because this is Mario RPG too, and don't anybody disagree with that statement, because it really is. And yeah, that is it for Paper Mario. The parade showcases every character we've come across, from our partner characters, from boss characters, a bunch of side characters, and a lot of funny things going on there. It's hilarious. Literally everybody's in this thing. It's hilarious. I love it so much. This parade is really fun to watch, and you probably forget there's credits below it the whole time because you're too busy seeing all the little Easter eggs and all the little characters you met along the way. And this parade does go on for a while, though. There's a lot of people who worked on this game, alright? Oh, and it finally ends with Mario and Peach getting that alone time they want to be getting at his house. I think it's kind of suspicious that he brings Peach to his house. I wonder what they're going to do in there after watching these fireworks. Who knows? Apparently, she wants to see if Mario can go down off her pipes. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Paper Mario for the N64 in 2000. This was the second main Mario RPG to be released, and it was another hit for Nintendo. They have a lot of hits under their belt. But yeah, of course, its legacy is pretty well known since it started the Paper Mario franchise, the one that has been hit or miss, though it started off as a really good franchise. And you really see why. This game has a lot of charm and holds up 20 years later. Holy crap, I'm old now. Thank you for watching, and next time on my channel, they may or may not be doing its sequel. We will see. I may have to take a break. Who knows? Anyway, see you then. Thank you for watching. And if for some reason your first video in the series, go watch the other 7 parts. Alright? Thank you.